Welcome to chapter 3, where we will introduce the eighth note triplet. Now, before we do that, I would like to do a quick chapter 3 check-in. You see, we're going to be adding something new in this chapter, and that can be frustrating sometimes, but we want to make sure that we are dissolving that frustration because we don't want this to be a frustrating process. When we add new things, it can feel like we are taking a step back or getting worse because we are not as good with those new things as we are with the things that we are familiar with already, like downbeats and upbeats. But if we have the right frame of mind, then we can actually persevere through that frustration and maybe not even feel it at all. The thing is that during a practice session, we don't need to do perfectly. In fact, sometimes if you're struggling and you don't completely get a concept within one practice session, persevering through that and struggling and working hard is the most important thing you can do, because the skills do not develop in the practice session themselves. Skills develop in between practice sessions. This is just like working out. When you work out, your muscles don't grow stronger right then. What they do is they grow stronger in between your workouts because the workout or the practice session is exerting a stress on your mind and your body. And in response to that stress, your mind and your body have to grow stronger. They have to develop new neural pathways and have to develop new skill sets. So keep that in mind as we introduce these triplets. Sometimes they can be a little frustrating because they are different than upbeats. They feel different than upbeats and downbeats. And so we want to avoid frustration. And that is one of the skills that we are also developing as we become better with our rhythm and our coordination skills, is we are developing the skill of perseverance, the ability to do good old-fashioned hard work, okay? So keep that in mind as we begin to explore triplets here in chapter 3. Believe it or not, in all of music, there are only two different types of rhythmic pulse. There is a duple pulse, which is felt as 2, and there is a triple pulse, which is felt as 3. So far, we've worked exclusively with the duple pulse, not only as 1, 2, 3, 4, but also as upbeats and downbeats, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and all of those pulses have been felt in 2. Now we did practice in 3, 4. It was very slow though, so you may not have actually noticed the triple pulse yet, but now that we will begin to explore the eighth note triplet, we will feel this triple pulse, which feels more round. A triple pulse feels round. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, okay? So I would highly encourage you to actually move your arm in those two ways and either count in multiples of 2 or count in multiples of 3 and literally feel the difference. Now the thing is, you can actually combine duple pulses with triple pulses, and this creates what we call a polyrhythm. Two simple pulses put together to create a more complex pulse is sort of similar to taking two basic colors like yellow and blue, putting those together and getting a more complex color like green. Polyrhythms are basic pulses being put together to create more complex pulses. In the diagram, you can see that the top rhythm is our triplet eighth note, which is indicated by the 3 on top of the beam. And underneath that, we have a regular eighth note, which is our downbeat and our upbeat. We are going to use the age-old musical saying, not difficult, to sound these rhythms out. Now you'll see that the not corresponds to the downbeat, and both of these pulses have the same downbeat, because regardless of what type of pulse you have, the downbeat is always the downbeat. So what happens here is that in our eighth note and our triplet eighth note, the downbeats line up on the not, and then the triplet upbeats and the regular upbeat alternate one after another. So what we get is not difficult, not difficult, right? Now, it is possible to say not difficult wrong, okay? Because if we don't maintain that rounded 3 feel and we say not difficult, well, actually we're not really doing a triplet pulse. So as you do the following exercise that's going to get us familiar with actually playing this pulse in both of our hands, remember to keep that rounded triplet pulse. not difficult, not difficult, not difficult, not difficult. All right, let's go try these out. Let's go ahead and put our hands on this polyrhythm. Now, the very first thing we're going to do is put the triplet in our right hand and the eighth note in our left hand. We are going to use 4 syllables to do that, and that is not difficult. So the first pattern we're going to do is going to have the triplet in our right hand, the eighth note in our left hand, and what we're going to do is we're going to say not difficult, together, right, left, right, not difficult, together, right, left, right. Okay? And it's just that easy. Now be careful that when you do that, that you keep that rounded triple feel, because if you play 4 syllables, but you play them very straight, what you end up with is 16th notes, and we're not there yet. We're going to do that in the next chapter. We're going to use completely different syllables, but the wrong way would sound something like this. Not difficult, not difficult, together, right, left, right. You can feel that that's more of a duple pulse. We want to maintain that triple pulse, which is not difficult, together, right, left, right, together, right, left, right. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to practice that with the metronome. So for every single exercise that we do in this chapter, we are actually going to keep the metronome on the upbeat, because what we want to do is we want the metronome to occur on the fi syllable, on the fi of not difficult. That's the upbeat, and that's where we're going to have the metronome for all of these exercises so that we can hold ourselves accountable on the triplet. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the very first variation of this, together, right, left, right, not difficult, with the metronome set at 40 BPM, and the metronome will represent the upbeat or the fi syllable. Here we go, and not difficult, not difficult, not difficult, not difficult. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you see what I did there? I said not difficult, and then once I felt the groove, once I believed in myself and I was able to maintain the groove with the right side of my brain, I switched over to just counting the downbeats. You could say the upbeat if you want, but also it's just fine to say the downbeats whenever you're counting a triplet. Now for the second variation of this, we're going to put the triplet in our left hand and the eighth note in our right hand. We're going to keep the same syllables, but we're going to change the hands that occur on them. So what this is going to be is together, left, right, left, together, left, right, left, not difficult, not difficult. And now for the second variation, again, we're going to turn the metronome to 40 BPM, and it is going to represent the upbeat or the fifth syllable. Let's give that a try. Here we go, and not difficult, not difficult, not difficult, not difficult. 1, 2, 3, 4. Feel free to try that any way you want. You can play it much longer. Sometimes it's fun to just, play that rhythm straight for a minute or 2 minutes, or if you're a real nerd like me, maybe 5 minutes, right? It's whatever you want to do to get used to connecting to that feeling of that rhythm, right? Now, the last thing we're going to do is when we see these exercises, remember that we have a rhythm line on top and a downbeat line. That means that the downbeat line doesn't have the upbeats, but we will be hearing the metronome on the upbeats. So what we have to do is we have to learn how to play this triplet without playing the upbeat, but still hearing the upbeat with the metronome. So we are going to put our hands together on just the triplet now. The metronome will stay on the upbeat, but now because we are only playing the triplet, we won't actually play the upbeat or the fifth syllable. So let's give that a try. Here we go, and not difficult, not difficult, not difficult, not difficult. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. And so that is how we are going to feel the triplets. Now, as we go into the exercises that come in this chapter, we are going to go back to having eighth note syncopation as we've been having it, but now there will be triplets involved. So when we get there, we need to have that little feeling that we just practiced in our rhythmic vocabulary with our right brains, and then we'll just feel that every time we get to a triplet. Thanks for watching this video. If you found it useful and you'd like to support the Piano Dojo, please consider subscribing and buying the book.